Hello everyone, this is Darcinovia here. I've been thinking about this for the past few days. Why did Leland Chee say that there's no truth to the Star Wars universe? Because that makes no sense. Because there's got to be some truth. What's canon, what isn't canon. And from my point of view, it seems like a form of damage control for all the contradictions that are popping up with every movie that comes out and every TV show and the comics and the books. Because it's not clear where a lot of these books take place, honestly, because there's not really any indication. It's kind of, to be honest, the new canon's kind of hard to follow for me because I like to know exactly where it takes place. Like the Thrawn book. It's a good book when I've read of it, but it's hard to know where it takes place, honestly. Because they don't use the system they used before, where you know what year it would take place. But anyway, why would he say there's no truth? Because we were told that the comics and the books are on the same level. And for those of you who are saying that the new canon, is better than the old because everything is equal, that's not true. It isn't true. By this statement, the comics and the books can be thrown out at any time they wish, if they wish to alter something in canon. So, example, let's say they want to do a movie that takes place in bloodlines, and they contradict something that's established in that book. What's going to be canon? The book or the movie? Obviously, it's going to be the movie is going to take prevalence because Star Wars is no longer really a franchise that is a multimedia franchise. It's primarily a movie franchise. And as a result of prioritizing the films heavily over the books and comics, they're limiting the way they can expand their universe outside the films and the TV shows. The writers have limited. They don't really have that much creative freedom like they did back in, let's just go by the last book, like they did from, the last book that was released. They didn't have as much freedom to write because this is the reason why I don't believe the multimedia format for Star Wars can really work at this point. Because when you have like TV shows being made, which there's going to be another one after Rebels, and movies being popped out every year, it's going to be impossible to keep all that, coming out without contradicting each other. And eventually, there's going to be some major issues with this canon. And because they said there's no truth, it gives them the excuse to write, certain stories out of canon. So they could say, this was true then, but this is what's true now. Honestly, that is not how continuity works, in my opinion. There should be one answer and one answer only. If the information that you're reading can be changed, then what's the point of reading these books and comics? I feel they've already are cannibalizing their own canon by this. By saying this sort of thing. That means that unlike the tier system do exist. And saying that everything is equal was a lie the whole time. Because if something can be thrown out of canon because something contradicts it in a book, in another book or a TV show or a movie, then what you're basically reading is fan fiction at this point. If there is no set rules for their universe, I mean, it can't be that hard to manage the continuity at this point, considering how small it is right now. But at the rate that the expanded universe, I'm going by Disney's current canon, is getting bigger than what the old one was during the late 1990s. It's by by 2019, when episode 9 comes out, they will have already exceeded the size that the EU was before the release of Vector Prime. And any contradiction that inevitably comes up, it's going to happen. It's going to be excused because the new story group doesn't really have that much control over these stories. If they could be overwritten at any time, then there really isn't a canon of Star Wars outside the movies and TV shows. And I think that is bullshit. I think what people are reading now should be canon and should not be changed unless it's absolutely necessary. There's been rare occasions in the expanded universe where they had to take something out of canon because it just doesn't fit anymore. With these movies that are going to be popping out, what's going to stop them from doing 2 movies a year? That's going to even make things even more of a clusterfuck. The expanded universe back in the 90s and at this stage, was only like the Thrawn trilogy, some of the books that came out before those, and that was it. It was a small universe that was easy to manage. Now, in 3 years, they've already exceeded the size of the original expanded universe when it was at its infancy. And it's only 3 years old, the new canon. With Episode 7, Rogue One, Rebels, of course, TCW, if you want to count that into the mix, because it's canon too. The universe is so big right now. It's going to exceed it in a few years. Where the EU was in the 1990s, and if the new canon lasts for 10 years, it's going to be bigger than the old expanded universe was before it was decanonized. Is continuity too much work for the new story group to actually manage? And no, there was a story group before the current one, came along. There was a story group, regardless with the lies that they want to tell you, but I'm not here to talk about that. Leland Chee, I believe, said it because I believe he's just doing it for a paycheck at this point. I don't believe he's as passionate about doing his job like he used to be. I mean, who would if you have a bunch of, a corporation throwing away your life's work on a whim? Kathleen Kennedy, I don't want to talk about her because I can't stand her, but I think I've run out of stuff to say, but my point is, for those of you who are giving Leland Chee shit, I don't think Leland Chee truly feels the same way as some of those people at Lucasfilm about the EU, like Pablo Hidalgo, Kathleen Kennedy, and maybe a few others. I think he is just like us. He supports us in his own way. And I think we should cut him some slack. Leland Chee's doing his job. And whatever he used to love doing now is just a paycheck. I mean, did you guys really expect Leland Chee to simply say, I'm not doing it. I'm leaving. No. He has to, he has a family to feed. He has to have a roof over his head. He can't just quit his job. And for those of you who criticize some of the offers for writing for Disney Canada, they're not sellouts because they can't have their careers destroyed because they refuse a corporation like Disney. So there's people out there who work for Lucasfilm that feel the same way we do about the expanded universe, but they can't express it openly. So, now that I have a chance to think about it, Leland Chee, He doesn't give a shit about his job anymore because why bother caring about your job when the stuff that you're currently working on now could be thrown out just as easily as the old stuff was. And honestly, I believe in Leland Chee's own way, him saying there's no truth to the Star Wars universe. It was him indirectly expressing, how he truly feels about working on the franchise at this point. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to hear, but that's my interpretation of it. Some people may think differently. Anyway, guys, this is Darcenovia over and out. I might do a video, another one in the future about this if something new pops up. And no, I'm not going to talk about The Last Jedi. To be honest with you, I'm not going to be like everyone else and just rant about it or go crazy. I'm going to wait until probably the last trailer before I give my thoughts on The Last Jedi, because I think it's premature to even talk about it at this point. Anyway, guys, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.